Welcome to the Building Blocks of Business, a podcast show where we dive in and explore various aspects of the business world. This show is brought to you by eCell NITK in association with the NITK Toastmasters Club. I am your host, Mohana Mukherjee, a second year BTech student in the Chemical Engineering Department. Today, you are listening to the second episode of Season 2 Startup Stories. In today's conversation, I get to sit with our guest, Mr. Layak Singh. An IIT Kharagpur alumnus from the batch of 2011, Layak has founded numerous startups, cogxio and Artivatic being few of the many. He was a 2014 fellow in the Startup Leadership Program in Bangalore. He also writes about startups, education, entrepreneurship, technology, artificial intelligence, culture, consumer interaction, business, and health at Tech in Asia, Silicon India, and Your Story. First of all, sir, welcome and congratulations on being recognized by the Government of India as one of the leading solutions in the field AI for health under the Atmanirbhar AI Challenge 2020. It would be great, sir, if you could introduce yourself to the listeners in your own words, detailing your background and your field of work.
I'll just give a quick background. So I did my graduation, as you mentioned, from IIT Kharagpur, but I have been eventually focused on building technology startups has been my passion. And for that purpose, I did my two startups in the past, just from college itself. And I took it over to build a third company, which is currently Artivatic, where our focus is to enable to access to insurance and healthcare by use of technology, how we can modernize the space, the ecosystem for insurance and healthcare, and that is what we're trying to build in Artivatic. So my journey has been quite interesting in terms of and down from my college to what we are trying to do right now with lots of learning, lots of kind of a change it the way that we do see in the ecosystem environment and around you. So yeah, it has been a quite fascinating to me, and I love to build something which is new, innovative, and something that can help to the end customers around that.
So, considering that you come from the field of mechanical engineering, how did you break into the field of entrepreneurship and business?
I had been more involved in my seniors when they were developing their own businesses, startups, and I was trying to learn how I can associate with them. I was trying to learn how to hire a team, how to build a product, how to think as a business perspective, what is revenue. So I have been associated with them from my second year, and in my third year itself, I built my first startup in college and from my hostel days, and that's where I connected with my colleagues from my college to take their help on conceptualizing idea and working on coding with help of them to launching that. So I think I'm involved for my second year. But yes, eventually, as an official, I want to start during my college. But just after my college, I didn't go for placement, and I started to take a plunge to build the further of my company, which I started to first from Kolkata as my first company. After working for 12 months there, then I moved down to my hometown, Agra. I spent 2 years there to build that business from my hometown. And I think in 2014, I came back to Bangalore, and which was a thriving hub for, as you say, for a startup ecosystem to learn, to connect, to understand. And that's where I came. And then I was trying to uh, connect with the entire ecosystem, how they're doing, what they're doing, how to start, where to start, what to build, what is venture capital, how to raise fund, how to build a team furthermore that. And officially, I started my journey in 2015. I started my office in Bangalore, and then I invested my own money in that to build my first company, and I hired a team and go ahead next. But eventually, the second startup which I started in Bangalore didn't work really well to me. I get into what is Artivatic right now. So all a journey learning, unlearning, and then again learning, then again unlearning, and then again learning. So I think that's the journey that you have to build the full course, learning, unlearning, and that's how you have to go for entrepreneurship. So that's how we move to build Artivatic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely sounds very interesting. Considering I'm a second year student now, sounds very interesting to me. Um, so we see a lot of technical entrepreneurship nowadays, like fintech startups, edtech startups. So I wanted to know, contrary to the recent wave of technical entrepreneurship, how was the situation different when you exactly started out? Like, what was the situation of investors, venture capital, even in Bangalore in 15, 16, and how is it different now?
A lot different. I think the last 3 years has been a completely change to the ecosystem that I have witnessed. And to be honest, as my personal learning as well, it is sad
Hmm.
that when I started a business, when I started my startup, I was not really aware about venture capital. I was not really about how to make PPTs to make a raise the fund. I didn't know about. My only focus has been that okay, I have to invest money, I have to build a team, I have to build a product which I have to sell to the market to build my business. And I think that is what I have been known to that till now. So that has been my goal as of now to understand. But yes, from that time, as a personal learning too, and as for ecosystem too, a huge change because now you have access to quick capital. More and more people who has existed as startup like Flipkart administration, Flipkart, Snapdeal, Paytm.
Hmm.
And you talk about like either like we talk about Swiggy, either talk about Zomato, or any other company we talk about like a software company like Eka, like iService, and like Freshdesk, Joho. So I think these are the guys like who has been quite helpful to ecosystem. More and more founders from these businesses, more and more senior guys who are investing money, helping startups, supporting them, and providing them the kind of like quick access to their learning and the product model, business model, anything or other. The support was not there actually. Like I would say, it's pretty a good an advanced stage right now that you have right access, right capital. What you need is that an idea of a team and to execute that. Everything else is available right now as a quick access to you. So huge change, huge learning, huge and quite a big ecosystem right now has been built up and
Yeah.
and the advantage that I see more and more people right now they understand now. So they
Hmm.
understand like entrepreneurship. They understand startup what it is. They understand like ecosystem. They used to know the traditional businesses, classical businesses like that. But now they understand the technology. They understand the kind of like application. As government is also like
Recognized it.
supporting and driving in terms of like Atmanirbhar like which we have been part of it, or it was like the government support in terms of DITP, or who is providing kind of like access to capital, tax benefits, and like how soon you can basically pick up your registered company and like access to the capital loan. So I think the ecosystem has been changed completely, and it is pretty right time for every entrepreneur to build a business, to put their dreams to the to canvas to make it real. So I think it's a pretty good time right now.
Yeah, it's become more organized and mostly recognized, as I feel, than before because a lot of people are coming in this field right now. So one question, particular question that I wanted to ask you was that even till date, we do not see a lot of startups in the field of insurtech. Like the only startup name that I can recall of right now is going to be paisabazar.com. So why venture into the field of insurtech, which is like rarely touched?
Okay, see, when you see the crowd which is coming in education, which is coming in e-commerce, which is coming in fintechs, landing, a huge is there. But I'll tell you why I ventured into. See, for me as a personal level, I do not like to do things which is usual to me. I don't love that. I always love to building things which is challenging, which is a long-term impact, and which has a lot of like areas to improvement in innovations. Now let us step back over here. Like when you go for education, as you said that you are in second year of your college,
Yes,
when
sir.
you went to go your education, you take education loan. On the other side, like when you're traveling, when you're buying something, your home, your fields, your wife, your health, your family, or as you see that every sector, every process, and every activity that you do in life is mutual protection. And earlier, like 10 years back, 5 years back, what we used to do, what we know about insurance, LIC,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Okay, life insurance, LIC agent is coming and giving the policy. But the way that things has been changed, lot more and insecurities is coming, lot more risk is generating, right? Earlier earlier we only have the insurance for life insurance or
Yes.
vehicle insurance or home insurance. But now you see the insurance how it has been evolved. If you buy a laptop, you buy a mobile, you buy a furniture, you're sending your cargo, you're sending your like anything that you buying jewelry or any you buying it is already insured to you. You buying a loan, you having a credit card, all is insured. Now think around that, the way the people has been exposed to the internet, to the data, it was not there 5 years back, 10 years back, right? Or look into
Yes.
the other side of the other side of the business, say we didn't have the Uber earlier, we didn't have the Ola earlier, even that was there. Now you see that we are traveling together, we're
Yes.
traveling together, we're living together. So all this concept is coming down and the risk is increasing. Is a theft insurance, is a travel issue, is a health issue. People now caring for the future, for themselves, for their health. And take an example of Corona.
Yeah.
Nobody has thought, right, that Corona will make our lives miserable for millions of people in terms of the job protection, in terms of their family protection, health protection, business protection. How to so this is area that is available. People don't have an awareness of the insurance in India. Only 3.6% people has an insurance to access, and that is out of that only 1% people has an access to health insurance, that is in like rural areas. In urban areas people does not even know about what is health insurance, right? And the counter spending that happens in India, like $91 billion that has been spending last year in health insurance. 61 billion was out of pocket expenses, means those people does not have the kind of like insurance which they can pay for their medicals, for their operations, for their daily activities, and they're losing money. As a poor family, other family, they spend like a average of like a 40% of their salaries or the income on the health expenditures. But that can be reduced down because that is creating a huge burden to them. That
Yeah.
can be created and reduced down if they have the better protections, education protections, family protections, health protections. But the cost is very high for insurance. Why? Because the process are not as like in e-commerce and fintech. It is not like that right now in insurance, right? You want to buy a loan right now. 4 years back, you want to buy a loan, you have to go to the bank, submit tens of documents, then you wait for 15 days. Now you can actually get a loan right away. The moment we close our talks, you can get 2 lakhs rupees loan right away on your mobile phone right away. How that is possible? Use of technology. Now think
Yeah.
in the similar way. Insurance is not accessible that way. People buy the insurance when they want to save a tax.
Basically, to evade tax as much as possible.
Exactly. They paid all that. Why the insurance? For the protection right now. And that is where the entire industry of insurance is driven by push more, agent more, offline more, unorganized way, like a complex documentation processes. So this industry is the fundamental rights for everybody. You look at US, right? They have a mandatory health insurance. But India, do we have that? No.
No, sir. Yeah.
Exactly. So when we look to build something, we have to look at when I look at my way, I understand. I look at that way because this is the industry which is now ready to grow, and we are at the right time because we have already spent a good amount of time building techs, infrastructure, platforms, and now we think the value of it. Because every single company, either it is an e-commerce company, or you own to Kirana store, or you at your home, is basically distributing insurance. That means they need infrastructure, they need a platform, they need a technology to do that.
Yeah.
And how is that possible? Whether traditionally you can't do that. So that is where I think Artivatic comes in the picture to build insurtech and healthcare ecosystem. And that is where we have to see that why we have choose insurance and healthcare, not just because of the thriving the education, fintech, it is a boom. But insurance sector which never go down.
Yeah. It will
More
never
the
go
risk,
down.
more the risk, more people need of it.
Yeah. It is something that you cannot avoid. Insurance is something you cannot
Exactly.
avoid. Definitely.
Exactly. So thought
Yes, sir.
process is that way.
Yeah. So, sir, coming back to startup and how the
Yeah.
different startup ecosystem performs, I was asking, so Commonly, to people like us who have not yet stepped into the system properly, we feel that the first round of fundraising is the most difficult one. However, we know that the struggle of maintaining a fully functional company doesn't end here. So, how would you describe the situation for Artivatic as a company now? Like, I recently saw that Artivatic raised a bridge fund. Congratulations for that. So, how would you
Thank you.
describe the situation for Artivatic now as a company?
Okay, so in my last two startup, as I said in the beginning that I haven't raised the fund.
Hmm.
In fact, like I have invested, I have earned myself without taking money from anywhere, invested myself to build that out. Second side, when I was building Artivatic, and I think I was thinking to raise the fund, but by the time I was trying to build Artivatic, I think I have built a certain understanding of the business, the market, the network, and the importance of the fund. And I think I went ahead to raise the fund. I have raised two or three rounds already in the last 2 years, 3 years from my beginning, and like I have utilized that to build my company, Artivatic, my team, my further growth on that. And so while you present that, as you know, while you're raising the fund, the most important factor is that uh, what you're building,
Hmm.
how it's impacting on the lives, either in the business, either in the consumers, how it is turning into the basically revenue, how it is basically getting into the business. See, the business only happens when you start generating revenue.
Yeah.
The business only comes down when you start having the kind of like income around that. It doesn't happen without that. So it is important to look into these factors, that why we have to raise the fund, why we have to build this business, and that is where we decided to raise the fund, so that we can grow our team, grow our business, grow our product, and like increase the revenue. So
Hmm.
for me, I think the journey has been quite smooth, but yeah, it is not that smooth because it needs a kind of like, you can't just say, okay, I want to think, I want to build something. Unless you have a credibility in this business and market, you can't raise the fund. The
Hmm.
only two ways to raise the fund is that either you have to start building something, prove in the market, and then to go to raise the fund. The second is a way that you have the credibility where you want to start something and you can raise the fund. So I think these two options follows around that
Hmm.
right now. But I think at the moment of time, a lot of accelerators, incubators are coming,
Yeah.
which were not existed earlier. So
Yeah.
that is supporting your initial capital of like 10 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 1 crore to build an idea, to experiment on an idea, and then take that to the market to raise the fund. So I think it all depends on your idea, the stage, and your credibility, your network, and the product line you're building around that.
So, sir, I'll ask you one question regarding this. Um, Nowadays, when we see like a lot of people working in this market, there's a lot of people working on contract basis. Like we join the
Yeah.
company, we work, we do a work for a certain period of time, and then we exit the company. So
True.
it's like it has become a gig economy kind of format. Everything is
Correct.
a certain
Correct.
gig. So, as an employer, like a hiring manager, maybe, what would your take be on this matter? Like, do you encourage the fact that the economy is becoming like a gig economy type?
Okay, absolutely. I'll encourage on that. And I'll tell you, in fact, in Artivatic right now itself, we give opportunities for the people to have a secondary income, who have the skills, who would like to work on certain kind of like a projects, products, other than our full-time people.
Hmm.
We do allow that out. And in fact, like there are 3, 4 guys still working with Artivatic out of their full-time job, and who works on weekends, who works on like after office hours, they want to spend a few hours, and that really helps. I'll tell you why. Because uh, it helps like both the side, on the people who are working on the contract and as an employer too. So
Hmm.
the people who's working on the contract, they have an extra income, they have the skills to work upon, the skills are being utilized, and with that skills they're able to earn better furthermore.
Hmm.
First point. And they are able to work in a flexible time, whenever they have time to work on this kind of gig economy, and these kind of like capabilities. That's a benefit for them for sure. Second point is, and also another point, advantage to them is learn new things. For
Hmm.
example, like if I'm working in one company, I'm building one something. When I'm working the same skills to other company, I can learn something better as well. So
Yeah.
always enhances your learning, your earning and learning both on that.
Yes.
Second part around that, on the employer point of view, it gives a benefit. For example, like every organization has multiple products, multiple projects.
Hmm.
Some of them like is a core, some of them is a non-core,
Hmm.
and some of that where you want to experiment something quickly. Now, if you align that internally, where the people are working full time, and if you ask them to experiment for like next one project for 15 days, 20 days, 30 days, what happens is that the entire project pipeline, product roadmap brokens out
Hmm. Hmm.
and breaks out in that basically. Now, it basically helps us out. For example, like I want to develop a website.
Hmm.
For example, I want to develop a small application to test it out. For example, like I want to develop an like a non-core application which can run by any person to look into that. And like for example, like I want to write somebody to write an article and like a content
Content
for me.
writing. Hmm.
Uh, Anything like somebody I want like to spend time with research and marketing around that. And so all these areas are like quite open. Someone like I want to have the domain expertise. Say I'm building an insurance health company.
Hmm.
I can't have the expertise in both healthcare and insurance for me,
Hmm.
right? I can't be a doctor. I can't be an insurance person same time to
Hmm.
understand. I can take a help of some senior person who is a doctor, who understands the technology, who understands that domain. I can take a help of him to my products, my solutions, and that's good enough to go because I don't need to hire a full time person
Hmm.
because it saves me cost, it saves me time, and also like in terms of
Adds
uh,
value to
like
the
a, uh,
project. Yeah.
add value to the product, your networking. So yeah, it is a quite beneficial, and I love this kind of like economy to work around that.
So, like you mentioned that maybe core or not core. So, like
Yeah.
when you're hiring freshers, irrespective of the role they play in your company, what common skills do you look at in them, which will, which will make them like long players in this field, mostly in the startup ecosystem?
Okay, I'll tell you the my strategy how I work.
Hmm.
And see, for me, I do not mostly hire freshers in a full time way. I
Hmm.
don't do that.
Hmm. Hmm.
My strategy is different. I work below and above, not in the between. So I'll tell you the below part first.
Hmm.
Say an example like the freshers that I'm trying to hire, I hire them a 4 months or 6 months probation,
Hmm.
or like a 4 months or 6 months as an intern.
Hmm.
And my first preferences is basically that I have my experience that the people that I have hired as an intern,
Hmm.
either they want to have interns in third year, fourth year after graduation, however they want to build it. Those 3 years, 3 months or 4 months, 6 months, very critical for me.
Hmm.
Based on that, I decide whether I need to give a full position or not. So I never hire the direct colleges as a fresh graduates. I never do that.
Hmm.
I I prefer the people even who are dropped out who
Hmm.
want to learn. I have the people in my company like that people, and the people like who are looking for something to learn around that, who has like this learning to for 4 months, 6 months, and I never hire people for 2 months interns. So I don't do that, to be honest. I hire like not less than 4 months because I get enough time to work with them for that 4 months of period so that I can either make them understand what they want to learn, they understand the something out of it, and which becomes useful for me or basically like for my company if they want to join me. So I
Yes.
think most of my hiring, I would say 60% hiring has been that way only. I
Hmm.
hire them as an intern,
Hmm.
and after 6 months they become full time, and then after another 6 months they become on a senior role right away. So
Hmm.
it is advantage for me that I have enough time to work with that person, and they understand the culture of the company, they understand the product, they understand the project in that 4 6 months period, and if they feel comfortable, they work continue with Artivatic. If
Hmm.
they don't feel comfortable,
They can
they
go
have the
ahead.
learnings, they can go anywhere they want. It is
Yes.
not hard for them, it is not hard for me. So
Yes.
my time of that training period and all things that is talk about, it completely saves for me as a company efficiency point of view. And I get to know that people who already working on my projects to become a full-time guys. It
Yes,
becomes
sir.
easier for me from day one to execute faster.
Yes, sir. So, sir, I wanted to finally ask you this one question. This is like the final
Mhm.
question I have for you. How
Sure.
would you say COVID impacted your company and the startup ecosystem in general? Like, how do you think it has impacted the future? Like, how would you think it will impact the future?
See, COVID has impacted the startup ecosystem.
Hmm.
I know that certain people always started their businesses and in early stages, somebody who like to want to start a business and they could not do that.
Hmm.
And as you see the impact, like all if you see the Fab, Oyo,
Hmm.
and all such kind of businesses badly impacted as because of that. So definitely it was a roadblock for certain businesses. I would say like 60% of businesses got impacted quite effectively in terms of the revenue, growth,
Hmm.
business, hiring. It was, but I think it's coming on track right now. And but it has also given opportunity for other areas like education, which
Yeah.
was never considered as a the kind of like online business and
Hmm.
school driven and
Ed tech,
the four
basically, the
walls driven
field of
business
ed tech.
is coming into the democratization to reach everywhere they want.
Yes, sir.
Second, like if you look into in terms of healthcare,
Hmm.
people are taking healthcare quite seriously,
Very.
telehealth, doctors, anything around that.
Hmm.
So other than that, the in terms of like the areas of like space technology, in terms of the drones, the contactless, in
Hmm.
terms of the kind of like how we interact with each other. I think people's behavior has been changed.
Hmm.
The behavior is a thing; it does not change very easily. It takes like a decade to
Yeah,
change
it doesn't
behavior.
change overnight.
It doesn't change overnight, but the COVID has changed that. The way
Yeah.
that people interact with each other, the way that people do the meetings, the way that people do the businesses, a lot has been changed. It has impacted a lot.
Not
And
just
second
monetarily,
part,
it's on behavior also. Like it has changed every
exactly,
aspect.
cultural change, a behavioral change, thinking change, personality change, a lot more has been changed.
Hmm.
And on the other side, like this also impacted on the savings, how
Hmm.
savings are important for them financially as well.
Hmm.
How so a lot of things matters a lot around that. On the other side, in personal way, uh, uh, it has been, as I said, a gradual improvement for us. He has had certain challenges, but this has also taught us empathy. This
Hmm.
has also taught us when you're working with the insurance and healthcare kind of sectors, that can also be done without coming to office as well,
Hmm.
remotely. How we can serve the customers, how we can do business remotely. For me, I have done the good learning on that. On the company point of view, it has been a quite good progress because the people understand the value of insurance now,
Yes.
in term not only in the kind of like a personal basis but on a business basis too.
Yes,
And
sir.
that point of view is that the business understanding the importance of digital transformation,
Hmm.
and that has really paved the way for Artivatic to grow. I would say like the growth that I have done for last 2 years and the growth that I have done for last 6 months is similar actually. I would
Exactly.
see that like in terms of how the way that it will change in terms of business is going to be quite interesting, because now I do see a lot of people thinking innovation, a lot
Hmm.
of people thinking that yes, insurance has to transform, it
Hmm.
has to be personalized, it has to be a customer's need. So yeah, I do see a good progress, positive growth,
Hmm.
and we haven't seen downtime on that. Yes, certain issues that always comes down as a people can't work
Away from home or
from same locations,
yeah.
and they have to go to the offices hometown. Sometimes that work disturbance. Some and another issue is that the way that we used to interact with our teams people is not the current situation. So yeah, so that touch is missing, but it is coming out. People understand that it's coming out. So I think that is overall, I would say, the kind of like impact the COVID has done in ecosystem and my personal business Artivatic.
It has been impacted both in a positive way and negative way as well. But as an artifact point of view, I think it has been impacted as in positive way,
Hmm.
as I was talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
like as you used to interact with your team members in office, you can't do that right now. So sometimes it becomes a negative impact for the new people because they never had a chance to interact with the people as like they used to do in office earlier.
Yeah.
So I think that is what is there. The touch is a little bit missing it out the way that we used to happen. Otherwise, like in terms of the business growth, impact, all in positive way.
And with that, we come to the end of today's episode. Thank you, sir, for
Thank you, Mona.
sharing your journey with us. I'm sure a lot of aspiring students from NITK will find it super useful. So,
Hope it's
so just one last small question to you. What message do you have for the upcoming entrepreneurs in the next decade, that is 2020 30?
Uh, for my advice, though I'm still learning as well in this way. And as an entrepreneur, you do not have any end of learning. You have
Hmm.
to keep learning. But my advice will be there is that when you want to start something, start in full force. Don't wait for it. There is enough ecosystem is built. There
Hmm.
is enough access to the quality resources, team, mentoring, advisor is available. So don't hesitate to build anything which you want to build it just because that you want to think that okay I don't have money how to start. Don't do that. If you want to start something, you want to build something, get an execution, go ahead. And the best time to do this in college because you have the free office as
Free
a
time.
hostel, you
Yeah.
have the free resources as an internet, and you have the people around you to build together with them. So that is my advice, and that's how I started out. You learn a lot, you build a
Hmm.
long-term relationships, teams, network. So I would say that. So think through and always become Atmanirbhar as India wants to build people around that. So
Yeah.
go for that. That's all my advice.
Thank you, sir. I would also like to thank our listeners. I hope you took away something valuable from today's episode of Startup Stories. For further details, you can visit Artivatic.ai's official LinkedIn profile. Until next time, stay home, stay safe, and stay strong.